Hey, New Patient Group Nation, welcome inside the broadcast booth. Brian right here, and welcome to Season 3, Episode number 10. Good one for you today. You know, there's so many things you can look outside your business, just in your daily routine, whether you're going to a grocery store, having your engine oil changed, service somewhere else, buying a good, going to Best Buy, whatever it might be. There are so many things that help paint the picture of a lot of what we teach business owners all over the world, in that changing your mindset and looking at it differently. Realize that no matter how good you are at the service you sell, of course that's part of the picture, but the reality is that's not why people are buying from you. People are buying because of the emotional buy-in via every touch point that you and your team have with that given consumer. There are so many things that prove that happen every day to everybody out there. And today I'm going to tell a real life story of that. I'm going to take a couple different situations and combine them together that have happened to me over the past couple months to really get that light bulb to come on. Now, for the clients that are out there, your light bulb is already on. The key with you is making sure we continually keep that light bulb on, right? For that repetition, things like that, to make sure you're constantly seeing it, constantly looking at your business differently. For those of you who are new, the light bulb might not be there yet. You may be obsessed with how good you are clinically, which you should be. I mean, that's a great trait, obviously. But if you're a new listener, I don't want you to think that, hey, your clinical abilities do not matter. Of course they do, utmost respect for them. But the reality of the situation is we're living in a time, as you all hear me talk so much about this on this podcast, where the better business defeats the better clinician. And that is the same for every other type of business out there, where the better experience, the better service, the better emotional buy-in defeats the better actual how good you are at what you do. And today I'm going to tell that story. Hope you enjoy it. Hope everyone's good out there. Hope your week's off to a good start. Before we get started, let's fire up the music.
Welcome to the New Patient Group Podcast, where doctors, office managers, and other healthcare professionals learn how to thrive in today's competitive marketplace by mastering the business, consumer, and marketing aspects of the practice. If you want to make more money, dominate the competition, while working, spending, and stressing less, this podcast is for you. Now, your host. He is the leading authority in the new era of practice growth, founder and CEO of New Patient Group, managing partner of RightChat, speaker and consultant for Align Technology, the makers of Invisalign, author for the Benson Koppel Resource, international motivational speaker, business and life coach, Brian Wright.
Hey everybody, welcome inside the broadcast booth. Hope your week's off to a good start. You know, this was a while back. If you've been an avid listener or follower of New Patient Group, you know, we started the podcast a few years ago. But we've had our YouTube station for a really long time. And it's so funny, like if you look back at 8 years ago at the videos, I look at myself and sometimes I go, oh my God, what were you doing? And we just become so much better at articulating things. And that wasn't even, I've been doing YouTube videos for years with my companies, but it was still a new message in healthcare of changing the business mindset and things like that. And there's a video that talks about, my wife and I had a shower company. This was a couple homes ago. We have a shower company out, and we see this commercial, and the shower company can take your existing shower, and they put something basically over it, and it makes it look completely different. It's a very unique model. I'm not going to go into describing more than what I just talked about today. This is going to take too long. It's a very unique model. So Kristen and I were like, yeah, let's have them out. Let's see what they can do. Maybe we do a little remodel in the main bathroom there. And it was a good meeting. They were perfectly nice. And Kristen and I are like, yeah, let's think about it. Let's weigh the price versus the benefits, the value, things like that. And we left. Well, we're driving home and we're on our way back from the Shoe Hospital. So the Shoe Hospital is something in Houston that's, I don't know if they're nationwide, but they're relatively prevalent in Houston. It's a neat model where you can take in shoes that need repairing and they see if they can save the shoe's life. Well, I had a shoe that was just torn to shreds by my previous dog. And it was a really nice one, so I wanted to save the thing. So we're coming back from the Shoe Hospital after dropping the shoe off. And needless to say, down the road, I find out that they couldn't save the life, so to throw the shoe away and the money that I paid them to try to repair it. So that was nice. But we get this call from the shower company. And the shower company is following up, you know, hey, sir, we hope you enjoyed your experience. It means a lot. We work hard on that. Are there any questions we can answer? You know, they're following up with me, right, to try to get me back through the door. And I hang up and I turn to Chris and I say, you know, it's amazing how many things that happen in your daily interactions with businesses that you can relate to the healthcare environment. In this case, you have a patient come in, they don't buy for whatever reason, and they walk. A real big hole in the boat for a lot of healthcare practices and a lot of businesses, period. That's why you can relate this, is how you properly follow up to get people back through the door in a unique way, not just phone calls, text messages, in a unique way, how you do it differently than maybe the other three opinions they had. So I'm telling Kristen, that's what we call pending treatment in healthcare. And it's just amazing if you do it properly, how many more dollar signs you can add to the books just by following up with people. And again, it's not about the dollar signs. It's about getting people the treatment and the health care they need to improve their confidence, their life, their smile, their bite, whatever it might be. And anyway, inevitably, we chose not to buy from that shower company, not because of the experience, but because we actually decided to put the house on the market and sell it. Now, if we would have kept the house, we would have purchased from them because I was so impressed with what they did. And at that time, I still had no idea if they were really any good at what they actually did. And from that day on, from a healthcare standpoint, my mind is always looking at ways and taking notes from my daily interactions with people and businesses and how it relates to the inner workings or digital marketing workings of the healthcare environment. Today, I want to tell a story, what happened to me over the past couple months in a couple different situations. And it really paints the overall image about what's going on in this new economy. And this new economy we teach in healthcare, it's the same thing when I put on my entrepreneur hat, when I speak in front of entrepreneurs outside of healthcare. And sometimes the audiences can be 500 or 1,000 deep, and you've got lawyers and restaurant owners and flower shop owners and plumbers out there because they understand from a traction standpoint how to get more opportunities, but also close them internally. The inner workings are all the same, whether you're an orthodontic practice, GP, plastic surgery. This outdated realm of thinking of, well, I'm a dentist and I've got to learn from a dentist and I've got to learn. It's so outdated in this new economy because the opposite is true. Yes, you've got to have people that understand how to apply their expertise to the practice environment. There's no doubt about that. But the reality is in this new economy, all your thinking has to be different than you've ever been taught before. It has to be innovative, unique. And oftentimes when you seek the advice from people inside your doors, the innovation and uniqueness goes away because oftentimes people think that it has to be a specific way when it actually needs to be the opposite when you're functioning in a competitive marketplace. So I'm driving the other day to the grocery store, and there's a place in Texas, and I think they're just in Texas, but if they're not, they're only in one or other two states in the South, and it's H-E-B, and it's a really nice grocery store. They have a lot of upscale foods, organic choices, their meat market's fantastic, things like that. And I've been going there for quite a while, and so I'm gonna preference this story with just keep in mind that there's other H-E-Bs that I can go to, right? So within our house, in our community, there is probably 3 H-E-Bs within a few mile radius, all right? So the fact that H-E-B, the one that I choose to go to just because it's closest to my house, that doesn't make them unique. I mean, the meat they sell, the organic selection they sell is the same as the other H-E-Bs I can go to. So the actual sale that they have, what they provide, does not make them unique at all. It's the same thing that we teach, the practices out there when you do Invisalign. That does not make you unique because the other 20 options that I have as a consumer in your community, they're likely to do Invisalign as well. So it's not Invisalign that makes you unique. It's how you do Invisalign that makes you unique, the overall experience. So it's no different with the H-E-B. So I walk in, and I asked this lady, and she's new. I have not seen her before because I'm a frequent visitor there. I love to cook, and I normally don't go until the day of, so I can get stuff as fresh as it possibly can be. So I always, when I go and I get fillets, I always ask them to cut brand new ones, because if you look at the fillets that they cut, you wonder who's cutting them. They're all mangled. They don't even look pretty, which is, and I've even asked them before, told them before, look, if you want to sell more of this meat, you need to make it look as pretty as you possibly can from a presentation standpoint inside that glass, viewing point. And so no different. I walk in there that day and it's just, they're mangled. They're terrible. So I asked the lady, could you cut me 3 new 8-ounce fillets all equally, please? And she said, sir, no, our options are right in front of you. And it kind of caught me off guard because that's what I always ask for. And the response is always nice and kind, and they do it. And I go, oh, no, I mean the ones in the back. Like I remain nice about it because I was caught off guard. Maybe she misunderstood me, right? So I said, oh, no, the ones here, they're unequal. They're not all 8 ounces, and I need 3 equal 8-ounce fillets. Just go back and have your meat guy just cut me some brand new ones. And I'm going to go shop around. I'll come back in, 10 minutes and I'll pick them up. And she goes, well, sir, maybe you misunderstood me. This is what we have. And now inside my head, I'm starting to get frustrated because now I know I'm dealing with somebody that is just, one, they're untrained. And this is the whole philosophy around what happens whenever you're not looking, right? Because employees, and this I think was from season 1 of the podcast, back when we had a different name, a little bit different format, we talked about employees only respect what you know or what they know is being inspected. So employees only respect what you inspect. Here's an example of a situation where this business owner, the manager, et cetera, has no idea what this girl is doing. And she may have had a bad day, whatever the situation. The point is that about an hour went by of me repeatedly asking her. I even got the manager involved because I spend a lot of money in this place. So I expect that if I ask for 3 8-ounce fillets to be cut, the response is absolutely, yes, sir. We're going to hop right on that. It's going to be about 10, 15 minutes. We'll have it open when you come back so you can take a look, make sure it satisfies what you need to cook with and give your guests a great experience, and we'll get you going. That's what I expect, especially the more money I spend with a place, which, by the way, is the same with your business out there. The more you want to charge, it's fine. This whole, you've got to be cheap in this competitive environment. The consultants that teach that just drive me nuts because they have a complete lack of understanding of the consumer mindset and how you make yourself unique in a competitive environment. So you wanting to charge more is perfectly fine. Just understand that every dollar you charge that's more, you have to be that much better at the non-things you sell. Meaning that if you sell orthodontics, you sell Invisalign, you sell whatever it is, that's fine. You've got to be a great clinician, not taking that away. But all the other experiences and touch points that go on in your office, those have to be that much better for every extra dollar you charge than the competition they're shopping. If you think you can just charge more because you feel you're a better clinician, that's where the disconnect happens, all right? So it's no different here. Because I spend a lot of money there, I'm expecting the service to be that much better. Now, even if that was the first time I'd ever walked in there, if someone gave me the response of, sir, we're not doing, and it got worse. I'm not describing the whole situation. Like, it got to a point where this lady's like, look, you can either leave or you can take what's in front of you. That's basically the message she was delivering. But because I'm I don't give up. Like I'm a guy that, and this is how we view each one of our clients' businesses, is literally I view like I'm the CEO of your business and I refuse to fail. So I refuse to come in second place. And that's the reason why I think our clients are so great or do so well, is that our whole team at New Patient Group and with Right Chat, we're all like that. Like, we want you to destroy people, and we will do whatever it takes. If that means not sleeping for 3 weeks to make sure your business gets on top, that's what we'll do. We're just those type of people. So I am not giving up on this situation. If my wife was there, she'd probably been like, okay, yeah, whatever. But she wouldn't have gone back. And that's the case, is I'm not going back to that HEB ever again. And that's the thing from a business owner standpoint. When you don't have visibility of everything that's going on, you have absolutely no idea that these things are happening. Drop calls on the phones, drop calls in the financial presentation, drop calls because, Nancy's a grump up front, didn't greet people the right way when they walk through the door. Like, there's so many of these little touch points that happen every single day. So that's my fillet story. And I'm going to wrap this around because I have a couple different stories, and I'm going to combine them together to kind of paint this picture. So that's my fillet story. Needless to say, not a good experience, right? Now, a couple weeks before that, I go and I get my engine oil changed at a place that is actually relatively close to that HEB. It's close to my house, and they have they have good testimonials and things like that. I'm an avid car fan, so I'm very careful with, who I allow to touch my cars and things like that. So I did my homework and came across them. I called them. I liked the way they were on the phone, so I went in. And they changed my oil, did a couple other things. Well, some time went by, and what happened is I pulled out of the garage, and I thank goodness this happened, because otherwise I may not have known. I had to get out because I had forgotten to bring my face mask for COVID. So I got out, went in, and there's oil on our garage floor, and it's relatively fresh, like it's not stuck to it. So this is a relatively new, and the engine oil was leaking out of my car. So I know that they did something wrong. They didn't put the plug back, but whatever it might be, didn't matter. They did something wrong. So, in my head, I think we can all agree, because I always ask when I speak on stage, not always, but a lot of times, to say, look, have you ever had a memorable experience with an employee in a given business? Like, to this day, do you remember any one specific employee from 10 years ago when you interacted with a business? And very few hands ever go up in the audience. And even the ones who do, people have to really think about it. And that right there proves the point of how all of us kind of, it's even more so in healthcare. Because of the consumer mindset of what the experience is like when you walk through the doors in the healthcare environment. So if you can be the company that's constantly providing memorable experiences throughout the journey, both before you become a client and then after, before you become a patient and then after you start treatment, you win in such big ways, because if you think back, you don't remember people. Rarely does a receptionist or someone that presented money to you or a salesperson, did they change your life in some form or fashion? Did they make you think differently? And the answer, unfortunately, is most of the time not. So when I call this oil company, I'm expecting, to let them know what happened. I'm expecting inside my head, they're going to answer, put me on hold, or no one's going to answer. Or if they do, it's going to be a total, ring around the corner, just wrap around, just give me a waste of time. And in my head, I'm going, I can't wait until they say, well, how long ago were you in, sir? Because we can't be for sure this was us. How do you know it's not something else? Like, this is what I'm expecting when I call. So, and that's no different when people are calling your practice, your business. There's this image, because remember, the mind works in images. So every word you're hearing me speak right now, your brain is instantly flipping it to a photo. Avid listeners, you've heard me talk about that. If you're not, you probably haven't. So your words create the image of how your brain is going to feel about something. Is there enough value there? Well, if you don't use the right words, there's not going to be enough value. And that's when you get, I need to speak with my spouse, or let me think about it, or guy down the street's $1,000 less. I need to compare the two. Whatever it might be, that's translation. Somewhere throughout the journey, people did not use their verbiage skills properly to put more value on what it is you do. It's just literally that simple. So I'm expecting it, and that's so when people call the healthcare environment, they have this image, this predisposed image of what they think. We're going to wait on hold. A person that's not that nice on the phones, can't answer my questions. If I do show up, I'm going to sit in the waiting room for 20 minutes, fill out a ridiculous clipboard that asks me the same questions the receptionist just did. Like, there's these images, and if you do your best to uncreate that and create something new that's unique and gets them to go, oh, wow, that hasn't happened to me before in a healthcare environment, it wins. So same way with this oil company, I'm expecting certain things, which is a lack of experience when I call this place. Well, the call was pretty good. And she said, sir, we are so sorry about this situation. And let me get my manager on the phone. Give me a brief moment, please. I'm going to run down and get him. So she went down to get him. He wasn't available. So she came back and she said, look, he is in a meeting. I'm so sorry. I am going to have him call you right when he gets out. So in my mind, I have a couple thoughts that are going on. I'm like, okay, she seems pretty nice. She seems trained because she's being empathetic. And you would think empathy just comes natural to people. I can tell you with Right Chat and then with New Patient Group training other people's receptionists, it does not. All right, there is significant training that needs to go in around empathy. Now, part of that is you got to hire someone that actually gives a you know what, fill in the blank. This is a family show. That's a big part of it. But the reality is after they even care, they still need training on how to do it, what to say, when to say, how to say it. If you don't give them that training, it's not going to come out. So I knew that this place actually took the time to train this person, which instantly is an experience because most places just don't. It's not even something that crosses their mind whenever they're trying to grow. So she wins there. But then there's this other side of my brain that's going, oh, yeah, right. All right, he's in a meeting. Yeah, whatever. He's going to call me back. Okay, fine. So I'm like, okay, I appreciate it. Please have him call me today, blah, blah, blah. We hang up. It was about 20 minutes later, and I get a call from the manager on my phone. And he is like, sir, receptionist told me everything. We are so sorry this is happening. And the owner of the company and I are going to come to your house and we are going to fix this problem. And if we can't, we are going to take your car for you back over to our place, get it repaired, fix it, bring it back. You won't have to lift a finger. In my mind, like, I can't even talk because I will, and it's just like now, I am telling the story and I will never forget that situation because it is so unexpected. It's just ridiculous. Like, I expected them to go, oh, you were in here a week or two ago. Well, that can't be us. Or if it is, there's no way to prove it, blah, blah, blah. And that is what most companies do. So not only did this company not do that, not only did this company have the manager call me back right away, not only did this company have the manager come to my house, this company also had the owner come to my house. And I am just glowing. I cannot thank these people enough. I thanked them on the phone. I thanked them when they were here, offered them all kinds of stuff, water, food, whatever it is, because I'm so blown away, and told them, look, I'm going to be talking about you guys in the podcast because you absolutely deserve the recognition, and you just blew me away. So I'm chatting with them and they're telling me, why would we do it any other way? I mean, this is the only way to treat people. This is how it should be done. I'm like, yeah, this is what I teach all over the world, but you have no idea how hard it is to get people to commit to that, because obsessing over your customers on the surface, yeah, I'm going to obsess over my customers, but actually doing it is hard work. So I teach all over the place. Oh yeah, go pay someone $5,000 a month to do pay-per-click. Sure, you may get some patients from it. But the reality is that you are always going to get more patients and more starts from doing the internal marketing and obsessing over your customers and doing the work other people won't do, always. And you're going to do it at a lower cost than what outside advertising will ever be able to do for you. But it's hard. Like, you actually have to do some work. And that's why a lot of business owners shy away from it. And I tell them the story. It's the reason why I, in some form or fashion, try to be involved with every single client New Patient Group has, and always will, no matter how big we get and how much notoriety, how much success. You will never see me change. I've always told people, there's three things I want to really be remembered. The guy's damn good at what he does. He cares a lot, and he's a guy you'd want to go have a beer with. Those three things, if I'm remembered for those three things forever, then I'm a happy guy, because I know the financial reward and all that other stuff is a secondary deal. And no matter how much notoriety you get speaking for different companies, you can't change as an individual. And I will always, no matter what we are, will always remain and want to be a part of every client we have. So whenever I don't get that experience from other companies, which is 99.99999% of the time, looking back, very rarely can I think of any kind of memorable experience throughout my life. And I'm a guy that actually looks for those because that's what I teach. I joke with my wife's parents. I love them to death. They're like my own parents, but they're the type that they're very easy to please. They don't really care. Like, the food doesn't have to be that good. You can be nice to them. That's going to be, they're not looking for something exceptional like a lot of people are. And because I do what I do, that's what I look for. So you can be easily disappointed by a lot. So here's the deal. You've got two opposite ends of the spectrum, right? And you've got one with the oil situation, the oil change situation, where clearly this owner has visibility of what's going on, all right? And I guarantee you, or to myself, I go, look, before they get to my house, I am going to ask this guy, or once they get to my house, I'm going to ask this guy, do you do mystery calls? And in my head, I'm like, I guarantee you he says yes. Because without the visibility and without inspecting what the receptionist is doing, they are not going to respect it. And sure enough, when they got here, I asked, hey, you do mystery calls. Your receptionist was really good. You guys invest in some training and things like that. He goes, absolutely. I mean, they're the front end of the business. And no matter how, every word that comes out of their mouth is how people are perceiving my entire organization. And I'm like listening to this guy, and I'm like, my God, this is unbelievable. Like, you're speaking my language, yet so few people think this way. And I am going to have him, I'm going to try to get him on the podcast because this is just, I want everybody to hear it from his point of view and how he grows his, in this case, his oil change company, and they do tires and things like that. It's a really neat business model they have with obviously a great experience. So he said, yeah, I listen in on the calls, and I even have mystery shoppers come in here. They'll bring their car in and they record everything that's going on in the open bay, so I can see how the mechanics are talking to people and make sure their experience is unique. And this is just, I'm like smiling because like who else that I've ever come across thinks this way outside of obviously our clients and then our team here at New Patient Group and with Right Chat. So this is just so cool. And the point here is that he has visibility. He knows what's going on. He invests his time into training his people at a high level and then holds them accountable for following that training. And obviously has a culture with people that actually want to carry it out, which is the other piece, right? You can train your blue in the face, but if your culture doesn't support the training, the second you turn your head, they're not going to implement the training at the level they would otherwise need to really have that memorable impact and that emotional buy-in from people. The point here is that here is a company that didn't do a good job, right? They changed the oil, didn't do a good job. My oil's leaking, right? And I talk about, you've heard this 1,000 times, and you will continue to hear it 1,000 times when I speak, because there's always a way to get this stat in, is the Harris Interactive study that talks about how almost 90% of the people surveyed said that they would choose and or remain with a business because of the quality of the experience, the quality of the customer service, over whether or not they're actually any good at what they do. And this is a perfect example of how these two stories go hand in hand on that data. The oil company didn't do a good job, yet their overall experience when I was there the first time was great. So at that point, I didn't know that they messed up the oil situation, right? So, and they were all nice. They were courteous. They had their good verbiage skills. They really took care of me, brought me a bottle of water, blah, blah, blah. But inevitably, a week or two later, I found out they didn't do a good job. But because of the quality of their experience, both pre-customer and post-customer, I will bring my vehicle back there. And I will continue to bring my vehicle back to that dealership because of the experience, the uniqueness, how they made me feel. I could go on and on and on. Now, the other end of the spectrum is you have H-E-B, which remember, I told you, best meats in Houston, best organic selection in Houston. Outside, if you go to the Central Market actually owns H-E-B. So a lot of you out there around the country know Central Market. Well, the original Central Market, I believe, is here in Houston, and Central Market actually owns H-E-B. So H-E-B is a subsidiary. You can still buy certain Central Market products there. They have their own organic line. H-E-B does as well. And they're fantastic across the board. They have, these olive bars that are amazing. They import. It's just they have amazing choices. If you go over to their wine and beer selection, the wine and beer person that's there is always knowledgeable, really can, if you're looking for a $50 bottle, they will talk you out of it and say, look, this $25 to $30 bottle right here, I am telling you is just as good and it's better, and here's why. They educate you, and they're just very intelligent, so they save you money in the process while getting you an equal or sometimes even better product. So they are awesome, and I know it. But I will never return to that H-E-B by our house. They're done. And this is the type stuff that happens to business owners all the time. All the time. Many times, unfortunately, you don't know about it. So therefore, in your mind, you convince yourself the only thing you need is more new opportunities and you'll be fine. When the reality is what you need to plug the lost opportunities you're having, but you have to understand how to identify them first. One way to do that is through mystery calls. We have people that do that with New Patient Group all the time. Is say, look, give me visibility of what's going on so I can hold my team accountable and bonus them around whether or not they're implementing the training. That's one example of obviously many, many others. But the point is you have to have visibility, but you have this stat that says almost 90% of the people surveyed are going to choose and remain with a business because of the quality of their customer service and their experience over whether or not they're any good at what they do. In this real life story, it proves it. You've got the oil company that didn't do a good job, but offered a fabulous experience, and I am going to return to that place. I am going to tell other people about that place. I'm going to refer. I'm going to write a 5-star review. Then you've got H-E-B over here that has a fabulous service in terms of what they sell that I'm never doing business with again. Now, I'm still going to go to an H-E-B. It's just not going to be that particular location. But let's say that was a business that only had one location. They just lost my business. I'm going to find somewhere else to go that's going to offer a fabulous experience, make me feel special, appreciate the fact I spent a lot of money in there, blah, blah, blah. And that is how it works. You as an orthodontist, you as a dentist, you as a plastic surgeon, you offer amazing, laser surgery if you're a plastic surgeon. You're an orthodontist, you offer just unbelievable, clear aligner expertise and results. You're a dentist and you provide the highest quality crowns and restorative work. But somewhere in the consumer journey, the experience dropped. Nancy, the front desk girl, the way your content's written on your website. You have no YouTube station when your competition, who may be a lesser clinician, does, and that converts them. How they're greeted when they walk through the door. Do you have a streamlined virtual new patient experience? Do you have a streamlined new patient experience in office? Do you use digital scanners? Do you use outdated paperwork on a clipboard? How does your TC present money? I mean, those are a few examples of many that all go into the non-orthodontic dentistry, plastic surgery, pedo, etc. experience, but actually get the emotional buy-in that goes and wraps around that 90% of people Harris Interactive study choose to buy from you and remain with you because of the quality of the experience. And that is the piece that you must in this new economy of competition, because you are commoditized. You now live corporations, direct-to-consumer, people on every corner straightening teeth. You live in a world where you have to be an entrepreneur first and a clinician. You are an entrepreneur that happens to be a clinician. That does not diminish the importance of being an awesome clinician. Okay, don't take that wrong, especially if you're a first-time listener or just relatively new to the show. What it does mean is that you have to remove your clinical hat and put on your business person hat unlike ever before, and you cannot keep seeking advice, business, the non-clinical side of your business. You can't keep asking another dentist, another orthodontist. Now, I'm not saying that you don't do that. That's got to be part of the journey. But you have to seek advice from people that are experts in that area that know how to also apply it to your particular healthcare environment, because of this story that I'm telling you. It is real, guys. There are things that happen every single day in your life that can flip the light bulb and get you to go, that's just one more example that Brian's talking about that absolutely hits the nail on the head. You've got to have leadership and culture, or your employees will not implement the training. You've got to train your people on a repetitive, ongoing basis, no matter how difficult that is, because it is the only way you get your business on auto growth pilot forever. Now, that may take a couple years to get it there. It may take 6 months. It's different for everybody. But as long as you stick with it, it's no different than the weight loss. I do all the right things. It may take me 3 years to lose weight. You may start losing weight in 6 months doing the same things. It's a different journey for everybody. But the reality is all of you need to be on the same journey. Is how do I ensure, now in the ideal situation, in the ideal world, the actual service you sell, the teeth movement, etc., is also the best in your community. So I'm not saying, hey, be the worst clinician. No. Be the best. That's a big part of the journey. A necessary part of the journey. But use the analogy, get the analogy, ensure that all the other things that go on every day, which is really 80-90% of your world, no matter how much you're in the mouth every day, 80-90% of your environment is leadership culture, employee training, digital marketing. Those are the things that really are going on every single day. You have got to make those three things absolutely exceptional. And when you do, and you're a great clinician, wow, like that oil company, yeah, they made a mistake, but they may be the best. Without a great experience, I'd never know it because I'd never go back. You absolutely can take your personal world, Bring it into your business that you own and make sure that the leaky holes are plugged forever by offering a unique experience that oftentimes people won't do. And that means every single employee must be on board, because HEB, that day, they always have their greeter at the door. So I was greeted at the HEB door very nicely. Another person said hi to me when I walked by that worked there. It's kind of their thing. Then I hit the meat lady that's relatively new, and she's a total fill in the blank. It's a family show, and ruin the whole process. It just takes one person, and that's it. And that's it. So you have to have visibility. You've got to commit to things that other people just won't commit to. I hope you enjoyed that story. Hopefully it painted a picture in your mind. For those of you out there that listen a lot, hopefully just kept the image in your mind, that light bulb on, and helps you motivate you throughout this week to constantly be looking at the customer, client, patient experience and constantly figuring out how do we make it better. Not because you're not good now, because remember, the goal is to make it memorable, and being good does not make it memorable. Doing the extra mile via every touch point you have with that consumer, that's what makes it memorable, and that's what separates you, because you know it as well as I do. You haven't been treated that way by very many businesses throughout your life. You've got to be the business that does. All right? Hopefully that painted a great image today. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. Obsess over your customers. Looking forward to working with you. Give New Patient Group a Right Chat a call today. I'm happy to hop on the phone. If you call our 800 number and request me, I'm happy to hop on a call with you, a business session. We can go through some stuff of what you're trying to accomplish. Thanks so much for being a loyal listener out there. Remember to write us a nice iTunes review and subscribe. And thank you so much, everybody. Till next time, have a great week. We will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.